Hi, this is John Booth with the blog metavero.com. What we're going to do today is I've got a brand new Intel dual Xeon E5 server here. I'm going to put it together from scratch. What you see in front of you here is the server chassis itself, Windows 2012 Essentials. Got a couple LSI cards here. I'm going to use only one of those. CD-ROM, just going to use that temporarily. Some Phillips screwdrivers, flatheads, long-handled Phillips screwdriver. Two Xeon E5-2630s. I like these guys a lot. They're pretty powerful with very inexpensive. So a little over $600 right now a piece. Right here, I've got two sets of 64 gigabyte RAM. It's a Kingston. It's their economy line here. Let's see. 4 FORCE GS Corsair 180 gigabyte hard disks. We're going to go ahead and put a RAID 0 out of those. Little knife here just to help opening things. Got 4 Western Digital hard drives right here. These are VelociRaptor 500 gigabyte SATA drives. So we're going to have four physical drives and 4 solid state disks. Just some peripherals over here, and we'll get started looking at the manual for this guy. Also, static strap. Got to have one of these static straps. If you're going to do anything with any kind of, computers where you're touching any of the pins or anything like that, just installing cards, etc. Get a static strap and make sure you make use of that, because you don't want to do things that blow up your electronics and make them unstable. It's a very good installation guide. It's actually really nice stuff here. I've been very impressed by the the Intel servers, just from what I've read about them. You can also get a 3-year on-site warranty for a little bit over $300, presuming you buy the machine through proper authorized dealers, and that's just a very good deal. So the first thing we've done here is I've removed the screws. There's 4 screws actually on this board that need to be removed first. So here, and then one in the back. I'm going to go ahead and put the static strap on. The static strap is on. Intel does recommend you put the whole server on the static mat, by the way, which is a good practice. I don't happen to have a static mat here, so I'll just be careful and make sure I've got the static strap attached to me at all times. And the static strap, we're going to go ahead and just make sure it's on something that's got a common ground among the whole case here. So, step 2, we've done that already. Step 3 is remove the air cover. So it actually looks like it's snapped in here. So we'll take a close look at that. Carefully push 2 latches, air duct, rotate the back edge of the air duct, disengage tabs. It looks pretty easy. set that aside. So basically the back two tabs there, you pull them in and then rotate the whole unit up. Next item is removing the heatsink. So there's 4 screws around each heatsink. I've got 2 processors, so we're going to actually remove both heatsinks. Let's see. Ask for a number 2 Phillips screwdriver. Start with screw 1, loosen it by giving it 2 rotations and stop. Proceed to 2 rotations, 3 and 4. So basically, what they want to do is just make sure that we're not torquing anything. So just 2 rotations around and around and around and around. You actually go catty corner each time. Okay, we've got the first heatsink off. You can see the 0 and 4 socket there. It's actually made by Foxconn. If you look at the bottom of the heatsink itself, you can see the paste on the bottom there. So that's a good thing. We don't have to go ahead and put our own paste on there. I'll go ahead and do that to the second CPU now, or the second heatsink for the second CPU. Okay, the second one's out, and we'll pull off the blank here for the second CPU. Okay, so step 5 is install the processors. So we open up the socket lever, and you do that, basically there's one thing we flip right here, and that's right down here. So we pull it down, pop it up, and this should flip up here. Let's look at that. It actually has two levers here. One on the left, one on the right. Okay, we've got the first CPU. The first one is flipped open now. I'm going to go ahead and unbox one of my CPUs here. And again, it's a Xeon E5-2630. So. So the next thing we're going to do, there's a gold triangle on the processor, and we need to orient that so it fits in the socket properly. And it doesn't hurt to actually take a couple minutes here to review this to make sure you're dropping this processor on there properly. Obviously these things cost a little bit of money, and you want it to, well, as does the motherboard, and you want it to go ahead and fit properly the first time. Okay, so I'm going to open up the protective covering here. Pick this guy up. Let's look at the bottom of that. It's pretty, isn't it? Okay. Set it very gently down here. In this motherboard, the gold triangle goes in the lower left-hand corner of the socket. That's right here. There'll be little square pieces that align this way. So once we've gone ahead and put that in there, now we go ahead and we're going to go ahead and close the plates here. First CPU is in. We'll go ahead and open up the this other ZIF socket over here on the other side. Okay, the second CPU is placed properly. Now we're going to go ahead and lock it in place. Okay, next step here is we're going to go ahead and put the heat sinks back on again. Basically, we're going to do the same thing we did before in reverse procedure. So we're going to go ahead and go screw 1, go to 2, which is counterclockwise, go to 3, go to 4. We're going to give it 2 screws and continue that. and it suggests 8 pound torque. Don't have a torque wrench, so we'll just need to be a little careful there. Once we finish this step, we'll go ahead and start putting the RAM in, go from there. So first thing we do is we align the heat sinks so they're running front to back. If you can see that right there, that's how we're going to go ahead and install it. So it can go this way or this way. So it looks like about 8 turns. Have a slight problem here with one of the holes here. It looks like it didn't actually, we haven't been actually screwing that one down, so I'm going to untighten everything. Okay, we're going to go ahead and start over again. Okay, that first one's secure now. So it's right about 6.5 turns total when you're putting it back on. Just putting that second one on there. So when you're doing this, go ahead and, once you have it aligned, go ahead and kind of press all four corners a little bit and make sure that it's level and appears to be, ready to go ahead and tighten. Okay, at this time we're ready to go ahead and put in the RAM. So we put those in one bank for either a CPU, and there's a second, actually I think it's a third bank that we won't do just yet. So it does say this does need to be DDR3 RAM. That's of course what I've ordered. For best performance, it wants 4 DIMMs per CPU, populated in the blue slot of each memory channel. So we're going to populate A1 DIMM first, and then E1 DIMM on the second one. Let me correct myself. This is the ValueRAM by Kingston, I believe is what the real thing's called. Yeah. And it is up to Intel certifications, which you do need Intel certified RAM. And the RAM's nicely labeled just to the right of the RAM sockets. So, if you rotate a little bit and look at the motherboard, you can see the labeling very clearly. And as with the CPU installation, it doesn't hurt to take a little extra time on your memory installation. Make sure you do it right the first time. Okay, so it's actually pretty easy with what I've got here. So, well, I say it is. Let's see how many sticks I've got for each one. So I've got, 4 sticks of 16 gig of pop. So basically, in my configuration with 2 CPUs and 128 gigabytes of RAM, I'm going to put, one SIM, single inline memory module. So one of these DDR3 SIMs in each of the blue sockets. And there's only 8 blue sockets, which means I'm going to fill up every blue socket. That's what those guys. So that's what they look like in the packaging. This is, obviously it's anti-static ESD packaging here. And when you take the SIMs out, you want to do it, just hold it by the sides, the left and right hand side, and try to be very careful just to keep it with those sides. When you put these in the slots, you'll align it. There'll be a notch on the very bottom of this, so we're going to rotate the SIM so it's aligned with those notches. And again, 4 blue on the left CPU and 4 blue on the right CPU. So what I'm doing right now is each the SIM holders, each left and right hand side have little little catches on them. So you're going to push them down a little bit on the left and the right, insert the SIM, and then go ahead and close both of those. They'll snap and it'll push it in place. And go ahead, if you do this, go ahead and just unsnap all of them to start with and make it a little bit easier. And you can actually rotate the, the packaging for the SIMs, and then go ahead and make sure you've got it kind of pre-rotated when you drop them in the slots. Okay, so I've got the RAM for CPU 2 put in. I'll go ahead and open up the other package and put in CPU 1. Okay, so RAM is installed. The next thing we go on to is installing the hard disk. Probably going to temporarily skip that because we should be at a point where we can actually power on, self-test the thing, and just make sure that that with the CPUs and motherboards as we have in there, that we don't have any issues right now. Because it's a shame if you do have some issues and you do all this other work when it's kind of a little above and beyond at that stage. So I'm just going to go through and look at the other directions here real quick, make sure that we should be able to go ahead and turn it on. Yeah, I don't see anything that precludes us from going ahead and doing a test right quick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the cover on it. Go ahead and connect keyboard, mouse, and video, and go ahead and just turn it on and make sure that everything seems happy at that point in time. So again, just a nice little in the middle of the install check. So this does come with a DB15 kind of standard VGA plug, so we're going to plug that in next. Take the power cord, unpack it, plug it in. Currently I've got this in a monster power outlet strip. It's currently turned off. So we've got power, we've got a monitor. Let's see what else we have here. I'll go ahead and put in the keyboard. Okay, we're going to go ahead and turn it on here. Okay, got some lights on the motherboard there, it's good. We've got an LED on the front, which is good. And we'll see what happens here. I don't think it's powered up yet. Okay. Power is in the upper right hand corner. It is kind of loud. Okay, we've got an Intel server board came up now. Don't be worried if it takes a little bit of time to come online. These server boards sometimes, if it does a RAM check or something like that, it can take a while. So here it's telling us we don't have any drives, which would be expected at this stage. So let me just see if we can get into BIOS here. So just a regular Control-Alt-Delete, obviously. And we'll see, we'll press something to get into BIOS here. And the fan noise dropped down quite a bit, which is good. Okay, so we can do F2 to get into setup. We're going to go ahead and do that. I'll try that, actually. Let's try that again. Okay, entering setup now. Okay, so quiet boot is enabled, that's good. Post error pause, let's enable that, that would be good to see. It's recognizing 120 gigabytes of RAM, that's great. We're going to look at the processor configuration. It sees both CPUs, they're both clocked at 2.3 gigahertz, which is great. I'm going to go ahead and disable hyperthreading. You can selectively enable cores, which is actually nice. That could be useful if you were licensing certain products, which only allowed a certain number of cores to be enabled. I'm going to enable some of the direct I/O virtualization. This is one of the processors that does support VT for directed I/O. I may or may not make use of that. Okay, so we'll do F10 to save this. All right. So at this stage, I'm going to go ahead and power everything down, and we'll continue with the build. So it's interesting, it does beep a little bit when you do power it down. So, obviously that's probably a normal server alarm type of thing. We're going to go ahead and unplug the power. As well as that VGA connection, and then we're going to go ahead and hook the static straps back up. we'll go ahead and put the drives in. After that, we're going to put the LSI card in there, figure out where we're going to hook up the CD-ROM so we can go ahead and use that to load the initial OS install. So these are standard hot swap caddies. Going to press the green button, pull the lever down, pull it out. You see right there, there's the tray. Looks like there's a spacer there that, we don't actually need the spacer, I don't believe. We'll see what the manual says, but I'm sure it says get rid of the spacer. So first thing I'm going to do is just pop each of these out. And again, you hit the green lever, pull the lever down. It's very, feels very solid. So one thing when we're pulling these out, the blinks do come out. So it does say make sure that you mount the drive such that it matches the drive plane connector. So we can just look at the drive plane connectors, make sure installing these properly here. It looks like it should mount like this, so the drive facing to the right. And just snug those up. So now we've got the one drive mounted. So I'm going to put my physical drives on the right part of the chassis and the SSDs on the left. You can order another hot swap tray, which is another set of 8 drives that goes right here, which is actually kind of nice. It's a nice expansion capability. Alright, so I've mounted that one. It fits very nicely and snugly. And we'll continue. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and mount the other three mechanical drives here. One thing about the packaging is, if you'll look at it, it's got a nice little area here you can just tear it off, so you don't actually have to use scissors to open it up, which is kind of nice. And again, this is a WD VelociRaptor. It's a 500 gigabyte enterprise SATA drive. It's a 2.5 inch. Now, when you're handling these mechanical drives, just make sure, again, we do have the static strap on, occasionally touching the case just to make sure that it's a safety check there. Don't touch any of the circuit boards. So, again, just avoid touching any of the circuit boards, or at least be very careful. Again, if you're using SIMs on the outside of the SIMs. So, but there's a nice place in the right-hand corner of these drives that doesn't have a circuit board. It's just aluminum. So you just be careful. Okay, I'm going to mount the solid-state disks now. Again, they're FORCE GS SATA 3s by Corsair. They're supposed to support up to 90,000 IOs per second random write speed, which is just about state of the art. So, pretty cool. So this drive literally weighs a few ounces. See the connectors right there, but it's a very slim drive. I mean, it's crazy lightweight. My first hard disk I had was like a 5 megabyte hard disk. You know, back in, I guess it was back in '87 or so, '88. This thing is, you know, thousands of times bigger and, you know, weighs, you know, 1/50th of as much. So, pretty crazy. So you can see they're quite a bit smaller than the mechanical drives there. I think these are like 8mm or something close to that. I could look in the manual, but I'm not going to worry about it. So when you're mounting these, you do want to make sure you definitely use the screws that came with the case. There's going to be some other hardware in these or any other drive cases. You should ignore that. You just really want the bare drive. Use that with the hardware that came with the case itself. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and mount these these 4 solid-state drives, just like the other drives. So we push them in, the green buttons at the top, and then once it's in far enough, we can push the lever down, and go ahead and it'll seat it. It works very nicely. Once these are in, we're going to pull one of the riser cards out in the back and put the LSI RAID adapter in, pull the SFF 8087. So what that is, basically, it's 4 SATA cables in one connector. It's a Molex connector. We're going to pull those off, move those onto the LSI 9271 card, and that'll get all our drives cabled. From there, we're going to put the CD-ROM in, and that'll give us something that we can go ahead and put the Server 2012 Essentials on and go from there. So this is LSI SAS 92718 ICC card. I'm going to go ahead and pull the riser out of the back and install the card. Okay, so we've successfully put the LSI card in, the riser card, moved the connectors over there. That's looking good. Now we want to go ahead and locate where we want to go ahead and put the CD-ROM in and go from there. So I located SATA connectors. There's two on board right there in the middle of the motherboard, just behind a heatsink. And now I'm looking for power, so power should be interesting here. Okay, located the power connector. It's basically in the middle of the motherboard in the front of the SIM sockets. There's an SB-C that connects into that, so now I've got SATA cable and I've got power. Next step is I'm going to go ahead and open up the Microsoft Media and install this, and that's where I'm going to end this video right here. Thanks for watching. For anybody that's a normal blog visitor, thanks for supporting the blog, and if you support the community, which I really highly recommend you do, thank you for supporting the community. Have a great day.